Hello, hello everyone, I am Darkness and welcome back to What Remains of Edith Finch. Edith Finch? Edith Finch. We are getting into the last part. I'm not going to do a really big introduction because I want to save our rambling for the end. I think I'm at the end of the game, and so the whole review and my thoughts on it, they have to come somewhere. Not right now, so. This is Lewis's room, I believe. It's been a day, so.
Lewis's room smelled very, very familiar. That part of him lived on.
Wow. He might have, partaketh of the dank. And maybe imbibed in the devil's brew. Not sure, but get that feel. Ooh, Wonderland Turbo. That looks like a PlayStation.
Lewis and I spent a lot of time playing games together, but he was surprisingly bad at them. He died a lot.
Poor choice of words. That's like if you took a PlayStation 1, because look at the memory cards, and combined it with the cartridge style of an N64, which is absolutely what they would probably want to do, is just like, we can't make something exactly, let's get close. There's nothing else? Okay. The hookah? Can't explore that a little? Ooh, I can go out here. Before I read his diary, hold on. Wait a second. Nope, it said saving. I'm not supposed to be up there yet. I'm supposed to deal with Lewis first. Man, it got some depressing music really fast. So let's see how Lewis passed first before I make the journey up there. Locker content, so high school. Institute of Psychology.
Dear Mrs. Finch, as Lewis's psychiatrist, I can understand your desire for an explanation. As I see it, the trouble began in January, shortly after we convinced your son to seek treatment for substance abuse. Newly sober, I believe Lewis first noticed the monotony of his daily life.
Wow.
He kept working at the cannery, but he withdrew part of himself. In our sessions, I saw the same behavior. His mind began to wander.
Oh, I'm playing a video game in the
I
corner.
asked him to describe it.
Can I still... Can I do both at the same time?
He said he started small. Imagining a labyrinth. He'd feel his way about. And something moved. Bats.
Bats?
And toads.
Whoa. What is it that I've... Okay.
And things that have not names. He knew it was all in his head.
I gotta grab that fish. Oh.
But he took it very seriously.
Well, you
I
can...
had hoped he'd find himself.
You can have flashbacks, or what is it called? LSD doesn't leave your system, and you can trip on it long after.
But he found something more. I worried about him then. Daydreaming at the cannery.
Please don't cut my hand off because I'm daydreaming.
I spoke with his boss. But he said Lewis had become a model employee. Methodical, tireless, focused.
Because he's doing this in his head.
Like a whole new Lewis. so I let him go on. I even encouraged him. It seemed very promising at first. He told me he'd made a new friend.
The dog?
On the edge of a city he named Lewis Topia. He built the city up slowly, brick by brick. Then he made musicians. And songs for them to play. He talked about starting a band. And he was always humming something. Every day his imagination grew stronger. He no longer spoke at the cannery. But his chopping was as reliable as ever. Then one day it struck him.
Uh-oh, he wanted to be in that world.
That all the cheering crowds, even the stones under his feet, were all in his imagination. So he could do whatever he wished. He held an election for mayor. And he won.
Mario.
They begged him to stay, but his mind was already wandering. It became a game for him. He'd conquer a city, then immediately push on. New Louisville. St. Louis.
But that's not imaginative at
He
all.
started drifting away from our reality.
Really? And you're the psychiatrist?
Minneapolis. Until one day he forgot to go home from the cannery. Even as his mother pleaded with him, part of Lewis kept sailing on.
Dawn's there?
In Lewisburg, he heard rumors of a
Handsome queen?
handsome queen. The queen was on her own quest for
Radiant rainbows. Brony time.
radiant rainbows.
The stories are so varied the way you play this game. By the way, this is taking some mad coordination to do both at the same time.
He followed the sound of her
Oops.
silver harp. His chase led him to a golden palace east of the sun and west of the moon. Even then, his logic remained sound. He knew the world was all in his imagination. But he was so proud of having created it. In his own eyes, he'd become something greater than a king. someone who'd never known success in the real world, I think it was overwhelming. And then it struck him that the real Lewis was not the one chopping salmon, but the one climbing the steps of a golden palace.
Saw that coming.
My imagination is as real as my body, he told me.
This is the time to turn away if sensitive subjects like that get to you, because I know exactly what
It's hard to argue with him.
he's about to do something very stupid. I am warning you that this is probably 5 minutes you want to skip right past. If you haven't picked up the undertones yet.
He began to forget the world we know. I think it pained him to remember Lewis, the cannery worker. He began to despise the man with a royal contempt.
He's not even grabbing the fish anymore. Wait. I'm playing as him now.
I still thought I could save him.
He's having
Even after he said he was being crowned king over all the lands of wonder.
out-of-body experience.
The palace would be packed with his companions. Including the wise Calico who'd insisted on inviting him.
Molly! The wise Calico Molly.
His queen waited, holding his crown.
I see that before I'm
There
there.
was only one thing left to do.
I know what that is. Now it's pretty obvious,
Bend
isn't it?
down his head.
Bend down his head.
And the rest I think you know. Mrs. Finch, your son was a kind man who will be missed by all of us who knew him.
My brother was really cool. I wish you could have met him.
Yeah, he was born in 99, so... Yeah, they left when he died, so 11. I'll save it for the end, but this game has... They've had a baby dying, and the baby's death was this... They made it happy, wondrous, like, adventure. And Lewis's suicide as a... Pretty much going into Narnia. They've handled the topics well, but it... You know, this game is billed as pretty much you're learning how each one died. So it's not like there's any surprise that death is a huge part of the game. It's just each story is told very differently than the others, and Death is still death.
On the way back from Lewis's funeral, my mom told me to start packing. She waited until the day before we left to tell Edie.
That's not good. That's not gonna go over.
I'm not sure if she wanted to make it easier or harder. I wish we'd stayed. But I understand why we left. My mom ended up leaving everything behind.
Oops.
What happened that night had been coming for a long time. Maybe it should have come sooner.
Her own room? She's the youngest. She would have the very
But it
top.
had to end one way or another. All that's left now is to tell you about that last night.
So this is Edith's story.
That whole last day, Edie just watched us pack and didn't say a word. Until supper, when she raised her glass and said,
"To our final night together, and all our final nights apart."
Grandma, you know what I said about alcohol. Some of your medications are very
Edith,
specific.
I left a present for you in the hallway. Why don't you go open it? The grown-ups have to argue now.
I'm sorry, you're right. We're all leaving tomorrow. Let's just enjoy our last...
I'm not leaving.
Edith, you're excused.
Like she won't be able to hear.
the power had been shut off that morning, but Edie always had plenty of candles. When my mom sealed the library, I don't think she knew about the other entrance. Or that Edie had a key to it.
That thing you're afraid of isn't going to end when you leave the house.
Why seal the library?
Edith has a right to know these stories.
My children are dead because of your stories. I think it's best if Edith and I leave tonight. We'll have the nursing home send a van for you in the morning, okay?
That didn't happen, is it? Did it?
Dear Edith, there's so many stories I wish I could tell you, but there's only time for one. This is about what happened on the night you were born. That night, the tide went way, way out. It was the first and last time I ever saw the old house aground.
She was a baby brought over. Right? So the first and last time.
There'd been an
No, not
earthquake
quite.
out in the middle of the ocean. They called it the lowest tide in 1,000 years. God, it smelled awful. You know, I've seen that house every day of my life.
No, she was older. She meant aground from sailing over. Right?
But I never thought I'd go back to it.
Yeah.
When the fog rolled in, I lost my way.
Now I'm walking a beeline toward it.
I got turned around.
No, I was walking in a beeline.
I started seeing things. Things I'd forgotten had ever existed. But when I saw them, they felt like old friends. That night, a lot of things came back to me. Or maybe I came back to them.
Brought the fence.
Things I can't explain, but that I need you to try and...
Edith, what are you doing in here?
It's mine.
Edith!
Mom, you're gonna rip it! Let go! I kicked and screamed, but Mom dragged me to the car. I never saw Great-Grandma Edie again. The next morning, the van came to pick her up, but she was already gone. After that, we moved around a lot.
She went back to the house. I'm
We
controlling.
both tried to make the best of it. A few years went by. My mom didn't like to talk about it. But she started getting sick a lot. The rest happened pretty quickly. She got better for a while.
You get better.
And she didn't.
Yeah.
And then I was alone. The last Finch left alive. Until I found out about you. I'm still not sure what to tell you about all this. If we lived forever, maybe we'd have time to understand things. But as it is, I think the best we can do is try to open our eyes. And appreciate how strange and brief all of this is.
I'm the baby. That's a heartbeat from inside. I remember that
This
noise.
journal was supposed to be for you.
I know that noise.
But now I hope you'll never see it. I just want to meet you. And tell you all these stories myself. But I guess if you're reading this now,
Oh no.
things didn't work out that way. This is where your story begins. I'm sorry I won't be there to see it. It's a lot to ask, but I don't want you to be sad that I'm gone. I want you to be amazed that any of us ever had a chance to be here at all. Good luck.
Now, I get the feeling that the music might be copyright, so that might be ducked out, but, I'm... So, yeah, replay a story option. That would actually be pretty cool. Milton's is the one that confused me. So, you know, I sat there thinking, because I was gonna start just saying things off the top of my head, and I realized it took a second. I'm glad I'm back at this screen, because this was good. So you know, I'll get off. I don't want to sound like other games don't tell stories well, but this one was told very differently, and it was told very well. Every time you went into, and every single time you went into a story, it was their death, including Edith, who never marked down her own death date because this was her journal. So that was kind of misleading, I guess. And yeah, it was Edie and Sven who watched, right? Edie, that Odin had to watch her dad sink with the ship. So, or Edie's dad. Okay, so the nice thing about this game is that it told the different stories of how this tragedy happened in a way that you can kind of believe a curse has befallen the family, something that they can't run away from. And you could go ahead and do that, but each one also has kind of a folly, like a foil to it, of if you want to believe that, then you have to kind of take a leap of faith. You know, Odin trying to get away from the curse by moving the whole house and going down with it has its own folly. Edie didn't want to go to a nursing home, probably tried to go back to the old house and died drowning, most likely. Sven tried to build a dragon slide onto the house. It collapsed on him, but he was, you know, Edie built it up as a dragon killed him. Walter got hit by a train after thinking that there was a curse. Sam got knocked off a ledge while hunting. Calvin, you know, it wasn't him trying to go over, you know, and, you know, blasting off and all that fantastical stuff. It was, he fell off the swing. He got thrown off the swing over the edge where they probably should not have put a swing. Barbara in the comic was murdered by all of the things, all the monsters that from the convention that were real monsters, but it was her boyfriend. Her boyfriend murdered her and ran away. Molly, thanks to somebody in the comments reminding me, it's Pika. She ate a lot of food that she shouldn't have that night and finished it off with holly berries, which are toxic. So her having hallucinations that she did all those things and then dying is not a big stretch of the imagination. Gregory is the one that, but I'm happy with the way Gregory's death was at least shown. Of all of them, it's the only one that can't be shown to be part of the curse. It was just told in a fantastical way, so that it's just not the tragic. It's still tragic, but not as hard as it could be. Telling the death of a baby is negligence. But Gus with the weather, the tent pretty much, and the debris flying and hitting him. Dawn getting sick. But it's not like the curse followed her and got her sick. Milton still don't understand disappearing, and Lewis committing suicide. But, his story is told as if there was a magical kingdom that he was trying to get to when he did that. And then Edith, she died during childbirth. That's if he was reading it. So the arm, or that I thought it was a cast, it kind of still looked like a cast, but it was only one arm covered. It might have just been his mom's, his way of remembering his mom. But always being one surviving Finch and all that. The way it was told, and each story being so dramatically different. I only have one qualm with one of the stories, and I'm not even gonna say which one because I don't think it deserves to be like highlighted, because other people might not think the same. It's good. It was a good game. It told the story really well, and it did it in a really unique way. So, it just leaves me with more questions that I want answered. I want to know what was the rest of Edie's journal, and I want to know what happened to Milton, but things not to find out about, I guess. So, that's gonna be it for this game. Man, again, it says something about the way they told the story when the death of a 1-year-old from negligence in the bathtub should have torn me a new one. Torn me up inside. I thought it would when we went into it, and instead, the way that Sam narrated the story and the way it was kind of told didn't make it feel that way. So this was really well done. Really, really well done. So, curse or not, I don't know. But I do recognize that Dawn believed that simply telling the stories over and over are what made the curse real. And Edie believed that there is actually a curse, and that she had a right to know that, she was probably... I think Edie recognized after, it was just the three of them, that Edith probably would be the last Finch left alive. So, if she believed in the curse, she believed that, Edie survived her generation. Sam survived his, but still died with Dawn. Dawn survived hers. Edith was going to be the survivor of hers, and she wanted to tell her. So, thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed it. It was a really good game. And I hope to see you back here for whatever I play next. Really, really soon. Bye!